This video demonstrates how to install the motor with the manual release and how to set the brake for proper operation. Please follow the instructions provided in the video. You may need to repeat the process several times until all screws are set at the proper gap.
And before we remove the brake, we noted where the brake handle was on the motor. So I just put a little mark here. That way when you reassemble it, everything's lined up properly. So we're going to take our brake plate and we're going to place it on the motor, lining up with the holes on the motor end bell. And we're going to take our new rotor and we're going to put it on the brake hub. Now, sometimes it's difficult to line up. Once you get it in there, it should slide up and down. So it popped in there, and now we want to make sure it pops up and down. Now we're going to take our brake with the brake release handle on it that we showed you how to put on in another video. And we're going to line the brake handle with the mark that we put on there. Slide it down on there. Now we're going to take our 3 M5 by 50 socket head screws, and note that already in the brake we have a 3mm spacer here. This spacer prevents the screw from extending into the housing and damaging the winding. We're going to put our screws in there. Give it a wiggle until they drop into the threaded holes. We're going to take our 4mm hex head wrench and we are going to turn the screws in until they just touch the spacer. They don't have to be tight at this point. Alright, you're going to need a feeler gauge. It's got an 8/1000 thickness feeler on there. It's either 8/1000 or 203mm. That's 0.203. And we're going to place the feeler gauge in between the silver plate and the brake itself. I'm just going to stick it in there next to the screw. And we're going to tighten the screw down until it pinches that feeler gauge. The feeler gauge should not be able to move. So we're on there now, and you can see you can't move that feeler. We're going to take our 9mm wrench. Now this wrench, if you can see, I ground it down so that it doesn't exceed the height of the nut on the brake. Okay. Most of these wrenches come and they're too thick. You want to be about 3/16 of an inch. Okay. So I had to grind this one down. Now we're going to take this and we're going to turn it, the nut on the stud, as I find it. We're going to turn it clockwise until it engages on the bottom plate. And what this is going to do is open up that gap slightly. Now this brake came out of the box, so it's all over the place, so it may take some time to start it out here. If you're setting a used brake, you won't have to go through all this. You just need to set them all individually and then go around and double check them once you're done. So now we're down on there and we're just going to give it a little twist. At the same time, I'm going to take and back out the socket head screw. Give the wrench another twist, and you can see that we're moving now. So now I'm going to bring the screw down, and I still can't move it. So I'm going to back it out. Now turn clockwise again slightly. And I'm going to come down again And now you can see where we're moving along, yet it binds. You gotta be able to force it in there, okay? It shouldn't slide freely. You should be able to just push it through there. Okay, so this one is set. We got 2 more to go. So we're going to go to the other side here. And we're going to get this one here. Again, you can put the feeler gauge right in between the silver plate and your socket head screw. You can see there's a lot of play in there. So I'm going to bring this down. And hopefully it'll tighten up. Yep, we're on it. You can see that. I'm going to turn it just a little bit more. We're on there. Now again, we're going to take our wrench and we are going to turn that nut clockwise, which opens the gap. Counterclockwise will close the gap. So when you're coming down, you want to pinch this. You're going to turn it counterclockwise to close that gap, and then you're pinched in. Once you got that, we want to turn it clockwise, looking from the top, clockwise, to open up the gap. So we turn it until we get a fair amount of resistance there. Nothing's happening, so we're going to take the screw and back it out. An 1/8 turn, no more than 1/4. Now you can see we're free. Okay, so we're going to take and go counterclockwise again, and we're going to come down on it, and we're a little tight. So now we're going to back it off again, turn the nut again, and you do this back and forth until you get to where you want to be. Okay, now we got movement now in there. So now we're good. We're good to go. So I'm going to just give this a little bit more, so there's a little more freedom in there. And you can see that I don't have it quite right, so we're going to go in here. Okay, there we go. You want that resistance in there. Now you got to remember, each screw is playing against the other. So we're going to go around 3 times, and then we're going to double check it. So now we're going to do the difficult one, and that's underneath the handle. So you want to lift the handle up slightly, enough to get your feeler gauge where it needs to go. Turn it up so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm too tight to even get the feeler gauge in there. I'm going to open the gap by turning clockwise. And backing out the screw a little bit. If I can get this feeler gauge in here. Okay, my feeler gauge is in there. Now I'm going to tighten down the screw until I'm pinched down there. Now we want to open up the gap a little bit. So we're going to take our wrench and we're going to turn clockwise so we get some resistance there. We're going to back out the screw just a hair. You turn no more than that. And we're not free yet, so we're just going to go in there and grab that nut again and turn it clockwise a little bit more. Back out the screw. And we're right there. Okay. So I'm going to go check the others again. I'm going to get in there. See, this one's kind of sliding in there pretty easily. This one here also sliding in. So we're going to need to go back and get in more in line. So I want to take that gap and I'm going to close it by going counterclockwise. Put my feeler gauge in there. Turn the screw down a little bit. There, so I'm going to take it a little bit more and turn it a little more counterclockwise. The feel is kind of tight. I'm going to make sure that nut's engaged. There we go. And that's down on the bottom. We're there. You see that motion there? It's just giving it a little bit of force and it's going through. Okay. I'm going to go on the other side here. Check this out. And it's sliding pretty easy, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go a little counterclockwise. And we're going to check it. Tighten up a little bit. We're going to take that screw and put a little pressure on there. It doesn't move much. And now I got it. Now again, the front underneath the handle is the most difficult because you got to play with the handle. But this one, I'm lifting the handle so that I don't have any interference there. And this one, it's right there. So we're good. And now we got the brake all set, and we got the brake handle going in the right direction. The next thing we want to do is set the brake release so that you've got the right pivot point to release that brake. So we're going to use a 25 thousandths feeler, and we're going to check underneath the washer on the screws that have a spring on them. So here we are, 25 thousandths. So we want to check in here. Now, you want that tension like you had before on the other units. And in other words, that spring's got to bring that washer so that it's got enough tension on there that gives some resistance on the feeler. So this feels pretty good. I'll try the other side. And yeah, so we got them set pretty good. I'd say I got about 3 or 4 threads sticking out from that post, so that's it. So when we lift this up, see if I can do this. We lift this up. We should be able to turn a little harder by hand. But you can hear that it's dragging a little bit. But if we had the weight of the motor in that, it'd spin real nice. So that's it. So if you got any questions, get a hold of me and we'll talk you through it. Thank you.